Howdy gamers, Old Gamer Guy here. Welcome to another first hour impressions video where I play a new game for about an hour and show you some edited footage of that hour and give you my very vague impressions. This is called Humankind, if you haven't guessed, and it is very much like Civilization, as you will see. But the very first difference is a pretty big one because instead of choosing our culture, we are choosing our avatar, and we can even customize that avatar. So there's one bald guy among the preset avatars, so I'm going to go with that. I like to put myself into a game if I can, or maybe it's really not me, maybe it's an ancestor of mine. So we have a decent number of options here to mess around with, and I can make a sort of cartoonish old gamer guy. And then we get our opening video for the game, so let's check that out.
Our universe contains infinite stories, most of which are about rocks and ice at sub-zero temperatures in a vacuum. Rather boring. However, on a small damp rock, there is a story that bears a second look. It's your story. But the first 4 billion years or so mostly concern amino acids. Not much of a page turner. But then, over time, the amino acids bond together and things start to get interesting and a bit drier. A certain subspecies of hominid discovers that you can do more with a sharp rock than annoy your little brother. Tools and weapons are invented. The hominids begin to cooperate. Fire becomes a servant rather than an unpredictable force of nature. They learn to tan the skins of animals for clothing. They learn ways to record and probably exaggerate their adventures. Eventually, these tribes learn to build shelters and immediately hold the first barbecue parties. This is the dawn of humankind. Struggle and cooperation have been rewarded. The Neolithic era draws to a close. The whole world beckons. This tribe has come far, but the rest of their story is your story. You are the one who will build them into a great civilization. How far will you push humankind? The race begins. A new world, a new history, untold possibilities. There is so much to see, to do, to learn, or, depending on one's preferences, to destroy.
All right, so here we are starting off in the Neolithic era, and we have some goals, or a goal, to proceed through this era. If you look up in the upper left-hand corner, you will see 3 symbols. Those are era stars, and we only have to earn one of those 3. So the first one on the left there has to do with population, and we're starting off at level 1 of 5. So to get that star, we have to build up to level 5, and to build our population, we need to pick up food. So you can see the food meter filling up, and we are gaining units in our army as we pick up food here. It looks like we can have up to 4 units in one army, and we gain 1 unit for every 20 food that we pick up, as long as we have space for another unit, I assume. But never mind that. Let's move on to that middle star, which has to do with knowledge. We start off at level 0. We need to build up to level 10. And if we check out this science curiosity, we get 3 knowledge out of that. So that's nice. We can split off a unit from the army to be separate, to go explore separately if we want to, but I'm not going to do that in this video. And here we have the Empire screen, which is just kind of general information. We are at level 0 because we're still a nomadic tribe. In the middle there, you can see the information about the era stars and what we currently have to do to earn them. And then over on the right, we have our list of cultures and a list of deeds. So I didn't technically have to look at these cultures just yet because I'm not able to choose a culture yet. But of course, me being me, I had to scroll through the menus. So we might as well take a look at this list of empires here, and you'll notice that it's kind of similar to the civilization empires. The Egyptians are in there, but there are also others that do not appear in civilization. Each culture has an affinity. There are seven different affinities. So these cultures are divided up into 7 basic groups. Here's some information about each culture you can get by pressing triangle. Each culture has a trait that will stay active throughout the game, and then they have a particular district that they can build, and they have a particular unit that they can build. But we'll come back to that a little bit later. Right now, here are the deeds. Because another major difference from civilization is that to win the game, you are gaining fame. So there are different ways to go about that, peacefully or in a much more aggressive fashion. But you're still only winning by gaining fame. So that's another fairly major difference from civilization. But never mind that. Let's prepare for battle. Or not. The third star has to do with killing wild animals, and so we had our first opportunity to do that right there, but inexplicably I just walked away. I don't know why I did that. I'm recording this voiceover several days after actually playing the game, and so yeah, I'm watching it going, why did I do that right there? Because killing a wild animal is clearly a major goal. There's another one. We can kill that one, I guess. But this is a turn-based game, if you haven't figured that out. And once you use up all your options, you end your turn. But never mind that. We have a decision to make here. We found some wild grain. We can grind it all up, or we can plant half of it and grow more. So I chose to plant half of it. But never mind that. Let's get back into battle here. We can deploy our units within that darker blue area. All of our units are the same here, so it doesn't really matter. But I guess later on in the game, when you have some tanky type units, you can put them in the front, and then you can have your ranged units in the back or in the middle, and then you can have your support units behind that. So, I can see how the deployment phase would be more interesting later in the game, but right here, all I did was just to move all of our people up and kind of put them in a line, more or less in a line in front of the animal here. And then we can choose one of our units to attack. And then once we do that, the battle will play out automatically. And we kill this animal, but we lose 1 unit. But we picked up food also by killing that animal, and we picked up enough food to gain another unit. So we're immediately back to 4 units. But never mind that, because here, for some reason, I diverged from the tutorial a bit. I assume the tutorial would have told me to build an outpost eventually. But if we look at our unit menu on the right side there, and then those options on the left side, those are all the things we can do with that army. And one of those things is to claim territory. So I went ahead and built an outpost here.
By building an outpost,
I didn't
claiming
look at the
territory
surrounding resources like I should have, so this may not be the best spot. We can relocate later, though, if we want to. And you'll see that a little bit later. We are beginning construction, but never mind that. We have a decision to make. Our people are kind of doing some violent things to blow off steam, And we could encourage that, we could forbid it, or we could organize it and have those games take place at certain times of the year. So that's what I'm going to do. But never mind that, because we have unlocked our first era star. We just picked up some knowledge in an ancient camp, and that put us over the level 10 that we needed to be, and we gained some fame from that. So we got 20 fame over there on the left in the upper left hand corner. But the big news is that we have reached the end of the Neolithic era. So now we can choose our culture. Like I said, these cultures are divided up into 7 different affinities. I'm not going to go through all of them, but they are things like being militaristic, or maybe you're an expansionist. Maybe you prioritize the aesthetics of your surroundings, things like that. So I'm a peaceful kind of guy. I like harmony in music. I like harmony in life. So I'm looking at the Olmecs and the Jiao because they are they're interested in harmony. They have different types of harmony, but they do like their culture to exist in relative harmony, which I think is a good thing. So I thought about going with the Olmecs just because they sound mysterious. But then I got a good look at my costume that I would be wearing if I was to become an Olmec. So I thought, hey, what would I look like if I was a Jiao? And so I kind of like this costume a little bit better. They look sort of vaguely Roman in a way. So I'm going to go with the Jiao. They prioritize their aesthetics. Over here we can see our outpost. Later on we can evolve the outpost into a city. If I select my hunting party, you can see I get a choice here, and I have another decision to make. So we can be makers, we can be farmers, or we can be storytellers. And I think I chose makers right there. And now we get another short video.
The challenges of a young civilization. It's hard keeping up with the neighbors when they have the wheel and you don't. Humankind learns quickly that everyone contributes. If you're terrified of wild animals, you can grow lentils or catch fish. Tribes settle towns. Towns develop markets, and markets begin the exchange of goods, services, and most important, rumors and hearsay. Perhaps you don't really need to focus on markets when you have deep philosophers and dangerous chariots.
Okay, so now we have our culture. We have begun a new era, and now there are 7 stars up there in the upper left-hand corner. Those 7 stars have to do with the 7 different affinities, so you can earn those things in different ways, but you have to earn 7 of them, it appears. But never mind that. We are going to relocate our outpost over here. Once again, I am not looking at the resources like I should be. I'm just doing this entirely based on the terrain, which is kind of dumb. But never mind my nonsensical decision making, because we have reached another main difference between this and civilization, because choosing our culture, in civilization, that's just it. You are that culture for the entire game. But with this game, you can actually change cultures. So if I get those 7 stars in the upper left-hand corner and I move to a new era, I will have the option of changing cultures. Or I can stay as the Jiao if I want to. But meanwhile, this army here is exhausted. So I'm going to have them stand here in this spot and regroup for a while. This will heal them up and allow them to rest. Here I'm just messing around with the HUD a little bit. You can choose to have all the resources displayed on the map at all times if you want to. And then I also turned the hexagon grid off right there. But now we are choosing our first scientific research. You can see our choices over there on the left: domestication, calendar, carpentry, city defense. I think I went with the calendar first here. I don't really remember, but I think I chose the calendar. You hit square to end your turn when you are out of options. When you're out of things that you can do, you hit square to end your turn and move on to the next one. But if you have things still, tasks outstanding to do, hitting square will just automatically take you to the next task. So you can't accidentally end your turn with stuff to do. But never mind that. Here is the technology tree. I'm going to scroll all the way through this tree to give you a look at all the various topics. But I'm just going to shut up while this scrolls. So enjoy some Jiao music. All right, so that's the technology tree, and it's been quite a while since I played any Civilization, but my first, immediate impression is that the tech tree in Civilization is more complex, but I could be wrong about that. Never mind that, though, because we have just evolved our outpost into a city, and you can see we immediately have more options. We can build some districts and some infrastructure, or a unit if we have the proper resources available. That is, it looks like we can't actually build a scout unit yet. As the Jiao, we like our aesthetics, and so we have a cultural ability called the Cultural Blitz, where we can pay gold to annex territory. You're not going to see me do that in this video, but we do have that available as an aesthete civilization. So it's telling us to choose to build some farmers' quarters as our first district. We could also throw a feast down there at the bottom of the menu. We cannot build a scout because we don't have horses available, but we could build a pottery workshop, and we could build a Confucian school, a farmer's quarter, or a maker's quarter. The game wants me to build a farmer's quarter here. To be honest with you, at the time, I think I just chose a farmer's quarter. I think I just accidentally chose what the tutorial wanted me to do. I think maybe I should have built the farmer's quarter there on the coast, and I should have put the maker's quarter up in this elevated spot, but I'm not sure. I'm not really looking at the... Once again, I'm not looking at the resources when I'm making these choices, so I'm not playing this in a very intelligent way, to be totally honest with you. But that's all right. These are the adventures of my first hour, and that's all this video is about. At this point in the video, you may be wondering, where the hell are all the other civilizations? Somebody has just chosen to be the Assyrians right there, I think. And then eventually somebody's going to choose to be the Phoenicians, and somebody else will become the Egyptians. So you can see those three question marks. Those are the other cultures in the game. but we have not met them yet. We have just finished researching our calendar, so we can choose another thing to research. And our farmer's quarter is finished, so we can start building something else. The game wants me to build a maker's quarter at this point, but mysteriously I instead chose to build a granary, which is going to take a lot more time to build. So once again, I'm being very, very inefficient and not doing what the tutorial wants me to do. But never mind that. We've got a notification. Somebody else has completed one of the world deeds, and our city has gained a level of population. But we're going to continue to explore, and we found a natural wonder. But then, once again, I did something odd because to actually get the knowledge from that natural wonder, I would have to explore this space. But instead, I walked away and I left that unexplored for a while. Eventually, I went back and looked at it, but I decided to come over here because over here we're going to see the last major thing that I'm going to show you. So it's kind of anticlimactic, I guess, this video. But this is ransacking. So this is an animal sanctuary. The animals will spawn from these points, I believe, but if we ransack them, we will get some resources, and that will stop the animals from spawning. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I think it takes 1 or 2 turns to actually get that done. But that will about do it for my first hour of gameplay. And we're going to make it through this entire hour without actually meeting another civilization, which is unfortunate because, yeah, I would like to show that stuff to you. But it is generally similar to Civilization, just like the rest of the game. The other world leaders are animated, and they can propose treaties. You can propose treaties. You know, if you've played a game like this before, you kind of generally know what to expect. But I do like this very much. I have experienced a few game crashes during this first week, but there have also already been 2 or 3 updates. So they are working on it, and I think it has improved. There are some minor things like steps of the tutorial repeating themselves when I load the game up. But mostly, I like this a lot. And if you like Civilization, I would say check this out. So what is next for the channel? There is a major game releasing today, which is Baldur's Gate 3. And as an old Dungeons & Dragons nerd, I'm very interested in that. So I will be making videos for that in the near future as I continue to buy games despite not having the time I would need to properly play them all. But never mind that. I hope you've enjoyed this video. For now, as always, thanks for watching.